Saturn vs Luffy is a fight that will shock everyone, not just because it will showcase the Gorosei in combat for the first time, but also because of the rich history that will be dropped. So today I will reveal why it will be one-sided, and if you stick to the end, I'll also reveal some never before discussed, of course, on these two characters. So let's go. Now, quick recap. After chapter 1073 dropped, I made a video on how Saturn's scar aches because of Joy Boy, aka Luffy, like Shanks' scar ached because of Blackbeard, and his reasoning for leaving Mary Joaz is that specific reason, Luffy being on Egghead Island with Vegapunk. This is important, but I'll save that for later in this video. Now, let's take a close look at some of Luffy's opponents throughout the One Piece story, like Smoker in Lockdown and how he was low-dipping Monkey D. Luffy with his Logia Delphin ability, or the former Admiral Aokiji, or aka Kuzan, destroying Luffy with ice, and pretty much the motivation for all the gears we see, especially with the recent gear 5th. Aokiji was a big help in speeding up the process of Luffy progressing throughout the Grand Line. And then there's Kizaru during Sabaody, of course. Luffy saying they're too strong and run away from them. Of course, you have to add in Sentomaru too. There's also Impel Down, Magellan. His poison also was too much of a problem for Luffy. Now, of course, Luffy has, he has Rio, Advanced Rio, and he has the antibodies for the poison. But during pre-time skip, this was a big issue. And the summit of it all is the summit war with Aokiji, Kizaru, Smoker, and Akainu, the current fleet admiral, straight overpowering the then Gomu Gomu no Mi, now we know him as the mythical Zoan user, relatively easy. I bring up these dudes who are with the world government outright dealing with Luffy with relative ease because I have a point. Think about it. Kobe was the only prominent marine that Luffy dealt with relative ease in the pre-time skip. Let's be honest here, we look at Kobe as below or even the same level maybe when it comes to portrayal, when it comes to end of story. During Enies Lobby, and of course during Marine 4, which was a bad one, Luffy dealt with Kobe with no sweat. But now post time skip, everything changed immediately. Look how Punk Hazard, how Smoker was portrayed as Punk Hazard, this Logia user that was unstoppable pre-time skip. Now, not with the greatest showing when it comes to fighting Law, Luffy, and even Virgo. Then there's Egghead Island, CP9 former, now CP0, Rob Lucci. Let's be honest here, in Water 7 dealt with Luffy with relative ease and had an amazing fight in Enies Lobby. But in Egghead Island, Luffy was dealing with Lucci, awakened and all, overpowering him. And side note, remember how Sentomaru was dealing with Luffy and Sabaody relatively easy? Well, yeah, he got destroyed in Egghead Island, really showcasing how these characters are not the same as before. Luffy achieved what he said to Fujitora about the Yonko and Admirals. He has to take them on because he has to be the Pirate King. Look at the end of Wano. Green Bull pulls up a new admiral, a new character we don't know nothing about, and deals with the king and queen relatively easy. Of course, they're worn out. And then, of course, you saw what happened. Or even Egghead Island with Kizaru. Kizaru pulls up. Oh my gosh, Kizaru's pulling up. And then we see him serving tea and snacks to the Gorosei, and even testing it out for poison by some of his marines. They're losing the mystique, the fear, the built up at pre-time skip, because Luffy is a Yonko now. And the reason he's a Yonko is because he beat Kaido, the strongest creature alive. Kaido said to King, if I lose, I'm going to lose to Joy Boy. And Kaido was in shock and awe of that white transformation with advanced Rio coding and of course advanced Conqueror's Haki coding. Now me personally, I'm not too sure if Saturn is stronger than Kaido, but I think he has experience fighting Joy Boy, fighting Nika because of the Void Sentry ties. Egghead Island has parallels to Sabaody, and many people think who will save Luffy and let him escape, kind of like Sabaody with Silver's Rayleigh. Let Luffy escape to Elbaf. I believe it will be Monkey D. Dragon because of his presence in the beginning of this arc, talking to Vegapunk, getting a flashback of him and Vegapunk, the connection to Garp. Of course, there may be a connection to Kizaru and even the Gorosei, which is even for a future video. And the same man who saved Luffy from Smoker, the first character I mentioned in this video, guys, in Lockdown, might be the same man who saves Luffy from getting overpowered by this Saturn Gorosei figure. A poetic end to a very poetic arc. allowing Luffy to fight his two next major opponents before the end game. I think that's Green Bull, who's after his head to impress Akainu, and Eustace Kid, who's waiting for Luffy at Elbaf. Remember what the words he said, not just about them being the marked man by flames. Also, once we leave Wano, we're enemies, guys. We're not on the same team like we were in Wano. So, all in all, very cool stuff. The ancient weapon Poseidon was able to summon Sea Kings. The devastation of even carrying Noah, these creatures are insanely powerful. The ancient weapon Pluton has been built up through 3 entire arcs. The first one was Crocodile and Alabasta. The second arc was of course Enies Lobby, with Frankie having the copy of the blueprints to Pluton. And finally, the end of Wano, revealing the location to Law and Nika Robin by Kozuki Oden's father. Of course, the ancient weapons always bring hype. Then there's Uranus, that Imsama most likely used to destroy Lelouch and presumably Sabo of the Revolutionary Army. Me personally, I was scared. I believe Saturn having a similar name to the ancient weapons when having that planetary name might mean he shares a similar ability of that magnitude like Poseidon, like Pluton, and especially Uranus used by Imsama, the king of the Gorosei. Things are about to go haywire. And just remember Doflamingo's speech during Marineford War. The winners always decide history. And we know for a fact the Celestial Dragons won. So I personally believe this Ancient Kingdom rematch, the loser was Joy Boy. So not just Saturn, the Gorosei in general have to be incredibly powerful. Now I know what you guys all probably thinking. How do you not too sure if Saturn is stronger than Kaido? Well, I'll say this right now. In my headcanon, I have Saturn stronger than Kaido. But of course, I'm a feats guys, and I have to see feats to actually give someone respect above Kaido. But story-wise, the only way Saturn can completely one-side Monkey D. Luffy with the Mythical Zone in Gear 5th, because Luffy, I have this agenda where Luffy, I believe he's top 1 in the series potential-wise because of his awakening. The only way Saturn can do that is by being stronger than Kaido, by being stronger than the Yonko, beyond the Yonko level. We all remember that Shanks meeting. So that's my thoughts when it comes to Saturn and what the possibilities are. But I would love to see Saturn overpowering Luffy, and then of course Monkey D. Dragon coming out of nowhere, and of course leading to the whole Sabo plot point of Lelouch and Imsama. There's so much places we can go with this. I'm all over the place. Now before I end this poetic video, make sure you guys click the end screen to watch my Mihawk special race video, and comment down below future videos you would like to see. Like and share if you enjoyed, like and share only if you enjoyed, and subscribe for more One Piece content. I'm the Legend Mac, and I'm gone.